Today we will see some more printer setting. One of the important setting is this support part. Actually, you don't need support at every cases. Actually, if you are printing a Ganesha, if you are printing a that cube, then you won't need support. But if you are printing such type of structure, like you can see there are some overhangs here, like this, then you will definitely need some support in it. It will open various options. Before going further, I would like to tell it you can decide which extruder you want to use for uh, creating the supports. Either you can select the extruder 1 or either you can go for the extruder 2. If suppose I will tell you both the scenarios. If you are using extruder 1, then what setting you want to do. And if you are using extruder 2, then what you have to do. I will cover both the things. So let me assume that you are trying to use the extruder 1 for the supports. If you are doing that, then you will need some additional settings. Let me just click on it. You will need this support pattern. You will need this support Z distance, support XY distance, and this use towers. You will need these basic settings. As you have noted, as soon as I have selected a setting, these setting came into the picture. One more thing you have observed that it already takes some default values. So if so, let me just begin. So as I've already told that if you click on the generate support, it will open this option and it will create some support here. So let's just see what it is doing. As you can see, this the part you are seeing, this part is known as the support. Actually, there are some overhangs. That's why this extra support is created by the printer. Okay. If suppose you haven't selected this, and then what will happen? Let me just show you. As you can see, there is no support for this overhang. So if you print like this, it will print, but this there is high chances, there is a high probability that this overhang structure will get damaged. Okay, that's why you need to generate support here. Okay, as you have seen, that it has generated support for all these overhangs. It is necessary. Now let us see some more example like support placement. Now this helps you this helps you to decide where you want to put the support. Now the question is why you want to know this. Actually, the reason is as soon as you add some support, it increases the overall time as well as the cost. Okay, so apart from this, at a later stage, you have to remove the material. It is also a very difficult process. So if suppose you can decide whether where you want, where you don't want. If suppose you want support only at the build plate, so what you have to do is just select this. What will it do? It will give support only at the build plate, not at the overhangs. Let's just see. As you can see, this time the support is generated only at the base plate. As you have observed, we already selected the support, but it doesn't create support at this overhangs. Apart from that, we also save 1 hour in it. But in this case, we need support. So what we have to select? We have to select the another option which says support over it, which says everywhere. We want to put support at everywhere. If you select this option, then what will this Cura do? It will create the support. It will create the support at every possible place. So you don't have to bother about anything. So just slice it, but it will increase the time. As you have seen, it increase the time. Okay, depends upon the complex object. This time may increase further. As you can see, it provides support everywhere where it is needed. The Cura decides for you where you need support, where you don't need support. Support overhang angle. The overhang angle is the angle of overhangs for which support material is added. Support overhang angle means it is the angle of overhang up to which support is added. Up to which means if you kept it 0 degree, then it will add support everywhere like this, like that. As you have seen that it doesn't add support here. If you keep this value at 90 degree, it won't add support anywhere. Let me just give you a demonstration of it. Let's suppose I need this 90 degree. Okay, so let's just see what will happen. As you can see, as we have selected the overhang angle is 90 degrees, so it doesn't provide support anywhere. So what does it mean? Actually, these overhangs are about 60-70 degrees. If you measure with the help of the D, then you can see that these angle of this overhang is around 60-70 degrees. But we have selected 90 degrees. It means that it will provide a support where overhang is 90 degrees. But in our case, it is just 60-70 degrees. That's why it doesn't provide any support here. As we know, we need support here, so let me just make it 60 degree, then you will see the supports in it. Let me just show you. As you can see, as you have selected a 60 degree overhang support angle, that's why it took support these at these places. Okay, actually what happens is here in these overhang, the sub angle of overhang is around 60-70 degree. That's why it took support here. Okay, so this is the significance of it. But usually what we do, we usually kept it 50 degrees so that it can cover maximum area. It will give maximum support because our ultimate aim is to get the best possible product. Now the next option is the support pattern. You are seeing that there are various options: line, grid, triangle, concentric, zigzag, cross, gyroid. Actually, you have to decide which type of support pattern you want. Just like in case of the infill, you have seen different patterns. Similarly, we can change the pattern in case of the supports too. It will help us to remove the support easily. Apart from this support pattern, we can also adjust the density of the support too. Let me just add that thing. This one is the support density. As you have seen, as soon as I have selected it, the support density came into the picture. Actually, what happens is after completion of our 3D printing, what we want to do, we have to remove the material. So if you want to remove the material, if it is a waste, then why you put higher density in it? You are supposed to put lowest possible density in this. But if suppose you are creating certain object which are very thin section, then you are supposed to provide some better density. In your case, in by default, if you selected the support, by default our Cura software consider the support density as 15 degree. It helps us. But if suppose you think that if that there are thin section you want to increase a bit, then you can increase the support density here. One more thing I want to tell you again that we are adjusting this support pattern and support density here because we are using the same extruder for both main material for both support. We are using for both the purpose. We are using the same extruder. That's why we are adjusting here. If we are using the extruder 2, then we will have to adjust these setting in extruder 2. I will come to that point at later stage. So you have to adjust the density here. Now the next thing is the support Z distance. So what does it mean? Let me just change the value and show you the demonstration of it. Let me just say that I made this value as 0.5. So let's just see what will happen. Before explaining it, let me tell you that this one is our Z axis. Okay, just keep remember this point that this one is our Z axis. Yes, let me just zoom it for you. As you can see, it created a gap between the main material and the support material. What does it help? Actually, it helps us in removing this material. As you can see, it is bit unclear. As you can see, there is a gap between this main material and the support material. Actually, this helps us when we want to remove the material. As you can also see here, it creates some gap. Okay, so that you can easily remove the material. So let me just change it to zero point 0.1 and you will see what change we can get. Just see it. As you can see, the gap in z-axis is reduced. Okay, so this is the significance of the support z distance. Similarly, there is the option of support xy distance. So as we know which is our xy axis, this is our x-axis, and this one is perpendicular to your screen is our y-axis. So if you make any changes in it, then it will move the support in xy direction just like it did in z direction. So there is one more option which is use towers. For explaining this, I need to change this material. Let me just remove it, and I have kept one another. I have I will use one another sample to demonstrate this, what exactly the meaning of the towers. So presently I haven't selected this tower. If I slice it, then what will happen? Just see it. Just see closely the support structure. Just look closely. Actually, this is the model of a catapult. Let us just see. As you can see, it provides the support. Actually, there is overhanging here, so that's why it provides this support here. And as you can observe that it also provide support at this position. Closely, just try to memorize the shape of it. Now, let me just select the towers. Then this tower will do. It will create a special type of tower for overhanging part where the diameter is very low, so that it can support. It will get so that it will provide a better support than the normal support. So let's just see what will happen. You will feel amazed after seeing the support in it. Let me just show you. I have sliced it. It will take some time for processing. Let me just, yeah. As you have observed that it changes the support structure, it creates some sort of tower so that it can provide, as you can see, it provides some angle here. Okay, so it is providing the creating a different type of tower, a specific tower for the specific overhang. This is the beauty of it. And there are some more parameters are like if you take this horizontal distance, then it will show you the tower diameter. And if you take this angle shows the tower angle. So there are various things in it. One more thing, if you are thinking that if you use tower, then it will create same type of tower everywhere, then you are not right. Actually, what happens is the software decide where diameter is very low. Only that place it provides a tower type of support, and the remaining and at the remaining while it provides just normal type of supports. So this is the case when we are using extruder 1 for support. If you want to use extruder 2 for creating the support, okay, if you want to use this, then what you have to do is the better option is to make changes in this extruder 2. Okay, actually, now the big question is when you will need to use extruder 2 for the support. Actually, what happens is, as you have seen that there are two material here. If suppose you are using the same material for the main structure as well as for the support, then it will become very difficult to remove that material. If you keep the same infill in the both the cases, then it will become almost impossible to remove the support material. That's why it is suggested that if you want to use the support, then try to use the second extruder for creating the support. If suppose your printer have only single extruder, then you can go for it. But if you have a printer which have multiple extruder, then it is better to go second extruder for printing the support. So that as there are different materials, so it is bit easier to remove the material at the later stage. Obviously, you don't want the support material later, so you have to remove it so that you can get the better surface finish at everywhere, so that you can use this model as a working model. Okay. So let me just tell you some setting which you are supposed to check when you are making changes, when you are using second extruder for support. So what you have to do is just click on it. So I'm assuming that we are using second extruder for support. So let me just make some changes here. The most important thing is this infill density. Actually, what happens is as you are using the support, so it is not necessary to provide higher infill density. If suppose you provide 70% infill density, and then let's just see what will happen. It increases the overall time. It will increase the time. So what you have to do is you have to keep this infill density as low as possible. So what do we want? We want to keep infill density as low as possible, because if we go for the higher density, it will increase the overall time for the production. The next important thing you must keep in your mind is the material. Always check by always check what printing temperature it is using. Actually, why, as I've already told, if you select a material from here, it will take default temperature. But what happens is in real life you are using the ABS of certain company, of a specific company, that then they propose a specific temperature which is other than this printing temperature. So what we have to do is, it is a standard practice, always check what temperature it is showing. So if you want to change this temperature, you can change it like 210 or 250, whatever temperature the company recommends, you can change it. Now if we go for the preview, let me just show you. You can see here these are the supports, and if we switch to this as a material color, let me just tell you. So you can see that the main part will be manufactured with the help of the PLA, as it is of orange color, and the support is printed with the ABA, which is of green color. You can see it clearly from here. So in this way you can use these settings. In this lecture, we will see about one of the important print setting, which is the build plate adhesion. This part is very important because this build plate adhesion, or the layer which formed during this build plate adhesion process, work as a foundation for complete structure. So it is bit important. So let me just tell you about this option and these sub option in it. So first thing is the build plate adhesion type. Actually, this feature governs the bit which type of adhesion layer you want or which type of foundation layer you want in the base. This option shows that which type of build adhesion you want for the first layer, or we can say the foundation layer. So I am first covering about the brick. But for covering this brim, we need some more parameters. Actually, these parameters are not sufficient. There are some, we will need some more parameters. Let me just add it like brim minimum length. We can't change this brim width, but it is important, but we can't change it. Brim line count, brim only on outside. So these are the some of the parameters I believe we will are more helpful for the better customization of these options. Actually, I have selected brim and I already sliced it. Now let's just see the preview of it. Now let me show you what exactly the brim is. As you are seeing this blue area is called as brim. If you look closely, then you can see that this blue area or the brim is touching the outer wall of the object. So what does it mean? It means that this brim sticks with the outer wall of the object. So actually there are some material like ABS which have very high shrinkage. So what does mean by shrinkage? Actually when the material cool down, it shrinks fast. There are some material which shrinks very fast. So what happens is the the edges start turning. This is known as the warping. So basically what happens is this brim stick with the outer wall and it prevent the turning of the turning of this edges because of shrinkage. So this is the advantage of using the brim. So as I already told, the material which have high shrinkage, then we use brim as a base. So what will happen? Actually, you have also noticed that this brim makes the area bigger. So it helps in better sticking of the object on this base plate. Apart from this application, if the part has very big base or a very thin parts at the bottom, then that in those cases also we use the brim. I'm again repeating, if part has big base or very thin parts at the bottom, in these cases we go for the brim at the base. As you can see, there are some settings here like brim minimum length, brim line count, brim only on outside. Now let me just explain what exactly it means. This 100 shows the amount of filament, or we can say minimum amount of filament that will be used for creating these brim. This shows by minimum length. This minimum length is the uh, length of the wire extruder, or we can say length of the material in wire form. So it must be minimum 100 or in other words we can say a minimum of 100 length material will be deposited here. This is the meaning of brim minimum length. Another thing is the brim line count. These number of line, how much line it will deposit is controlled by this brim line count. One more thing, if suppose we have selected that we want to have minimum length as 150 and we took as line count as 10. But if suppose it means that it will deposit 150 length of material, and if in case this material is not covered by these just 10 lines, then it will automatically increase the number of lines. It means if this parameter is fixed, then it may affect or it may increase this number of rim line count by itself to deposit this much of material. Now let us just see the simulation part of it. So I have already kept it at very first layer. Now let me just print like this. It first take the outer layer, then let me just make it bit fast, and like this it creates the brim. As we have put the number of line as 10, so it will print 10 lines at surrounding. Now it just started the first outer wall, then the inner wall, and then the infill like this. So this is the first layer. In this way, brim is printed in it. One more thing, this brim only on outside feature helps in the case if suppose if suppose you are printing a donut or something, then you don't want brim at nearby the whole part. So this when you select this brim only on outside, then our printer prints brim only on the outer edge, not at this center part. Now we will see the next option in build plate adhesion, that is the raft. I've already placed this object and sliced it. Now let me just show you what exactly the raft is. Let me just show you the simulation. So far it takes the outer wall, and yeah, as you can see, this is the raft. Apart from that, as you can observe that it creates the complete base for the object. Yes, you can see this. It creates the complete base. One more thing, usually raft has minimum 4 layers. One, two, three, and four. Okay, it has about 4 layers. Now, if you look closely, then you can see that this raft is not just it is like a foundation for this main object, and it covers complete area. Now let me tell you that when we go for a raft, actually what happens is there sometimes we try to manufacture some objects that have uh, that doesn't have a flight base. Okay, there are some inclination or something in it or some curvature in it. Apart from this, if suppose we are trying to build certain object which have a very little part touching this base plate, then also we will go for the raft. Let me just show you one example. It will give you a better picture. Let me just show you like this. This is our Ganesha. As you can see, if suppose we want to print like this, and what will happen uh, at this point, as you can see, the point of contact between the object and the base plate is a curvature. Okay, so there is a very small point of contact here. So if we want to manufacture like this, then we have to go for a then we have to select the draft option for it, so that it will provide a better base for this complete object, so that this object can get better adhesive, so that this object gets support while manufacturing. Let me just show you the preview like this. Yes, as you can see that it will get this base, so that the first few layers get stick with this plate. I hope you have observed that when I tried to make these Ganesha in upside down situation, then it take this much of support. That's why at very beginning I told you guys that orientation of the object is very important. That's why you may also observe that it is taking about 7 hours 6 minutes. So orientation is very important when you are making an object. And apart from orientation, the foundation you're using for creating the object is also very important. So select wisely. Okay, let me just tell you the another option in plate adhesion, which is the skirt. Actually, what skirt do, it create the layers at some distance from the object. It doesn't stick with the main object. It create layer at some distance. Let me just show you the preview so that you can get a better understanding of it. So as you can see, these line shows the skirt, and as I have said that the skirt doesn't touch the main object. So maybe you are wondering that why we are using the skirt when it is not touching. Actually, the reason is when the printing starts. Okay, if suppose your printer is idle for some time and you are starting the printing, then at first the some material bulges out from the extruder. Apart from this skirt helps us to check whether the extrusion is whether the extrusion of material is proper or not. Apart from this, it also helps us in bed labeling. Like this, the labeling of this bed is very important. If suppose it is disturbed at any axis, then this will deteriorate the complete object. So the creation of a skirt also help us to see whether our bed is properly calibrated or not, or properly in label or not. Now let me just show you some of our its option, like skirt line count, as we have shown in the previous. This line count shows the number of lines. As you can see, there are number of lines here. So this shows the number of lines. Maybe you are wondering that I am saying here 10, but maybe there are some more lines. So actually the reason is this is skirt minimum length. Actually, as I have already told you about this in case of the brick, this 150 mm shows the amount of material, length of material extruded for creating the skirt. So this material is the minimum material. This material definitely extrude during the preparation of this object. So if 10 lines are not sufficient to extrude or to cover this material, then it may increase these number of lines automatically. That's why, so if you try to count this, maybe there are these lines are more than 10. Okay. Now the another important parameter is skirt distance. What does it mean? Actually, as you have seen this is the skirt, this is the main object. So this distance is the skirt distance. You can vary it as per your requirement if you want. Like if you make it 1 mm, let me just make it 1 mm. Let me just show you what will happen. As you can see, this distance reduces as we make it 1 mm. It depends upon you what you want, what you not want. So it depends upon you whether you want to take 1 mm or 3 mm. It doesn't have much effect on the overall printing. So it is up to you whether you want to select 1 mm or 3 mm. But usually we go for the higher one. The reason behind this is actually at later stage we have to remove the extra material, so it helps in that. Now let me just tell you about the one of important feature of this Cura, which is the view modes. Actually, in case of the Cura, it offers three types of view modes. One is the solid view, second is the X-ray view, and third one is the layer view. So let me just explain it one by one. Actually, as you place this object on this bed, then the view you are getting, this view is the solid view. One more thing, if it is complete yellow, then it means that your object is properly placed on the plate. Now let me just explain what exactly I'm trying to say. Like if suppose, let me just move it further like this. Okay, now what I did is actually I placed this object beyond this bed plate. So as we have observed that color of this object is changed from yellow to gray. So actually this is the indication by the Cura that your object is not properly placed on the bed, so it is just a alert for you. So this is basically our solid view. So let me just put it back to its place. Yeah, now you have just seen that it returns to it yellow color. So it means that our object is properly placed on the bed plate. Apart from this, when we hover our mouse to this view setting, then we can see the various views of it. Like this is the 3D view, which is the most popular one, and we can go to see various view like front view, top view, bottom view, left side view, and right side view. These are the options, and you can also check the various view by clicking on these options. Like this is for the 3D view. So basically most popular one is the 3D views. It help you to visualize from each and every angle. But if you want to see the specific view of this object, then what you have to do, like if you want to see the front view, just click on it. It will show you the front view. If you want to see the top view of this object, then just click on the top view. If you want to see the left side view, then just click on it. It will show you the left side view. If you want to see the right side view of the object, just click on it like this. It will show all these views to you. It will show all the views to you. But the best way is just select this 3D view, just enlarge it, and just right click your mouse continuously and just start seeing different views like that. This is the most easiest way. Apart from this, in view option there is one more thing, the camera view. Presently you are seeing a perspective view, but you can change it to orthographic too. So this is the orthographic view of the object. Now the second view is the X-ray view. What you have to do is, for seeing the X-ray of this, what you have to do is just go to the preview and just hover your mouse here. Then you can see different views here. So if you select X-ray view, then it will give you the X-ray image of it. So where it will help, suppose you are having certain cavity within the object, then with the help of the X-ray view, you can check it whether there is, suppose you are using some object, then whether it has some inner cavity on that or not. So this X-ray view helps in that. But most popular view is the layer view. Actually, it helps you to understand the layer by layer, and this layer view has different sub options like layer thickness, material color, line type, speed, and there are various options in it. So now let's just explore what does these options mean. So what I am doing is I have selected the layer view, and in color scheme I am selecting this material color. So let me just slice it. Let's just see. So this is the material color view. Actually, what we are doing, as we have remembered in this fish one, what we are doing, we are creating the support with the help of the ABS, and we are creating the main structure with the help of the PLA. So as you can see, it is clearly indicating its color like green for the ABS and yellow or orange for the PLA. Now let me just switch this to line type. I have switched it to line type. So as per the line type, which type of line we are using at which place, like in case of the infill, we are using the line. In case of this main material, suppose we are using grade, it will show you that what type of a structure we are using or what type of line type we are using. Like this, you can see like this. Apart from that, as you are observing, as soon as we are moving it, it shows each line individually. Like for the infill, it is clearly showing it at orange color that we are using this type of line in infill. And for the shell, or we can say the inner wall, it is showing inner wall as green color and the top bottom layer as the orange color. Okay, now let me just switch this to speed. So what does it mean? What does it shows? Actually, if for understanding this, we have to see this graph. As you can see that orange color shows the higher speed and the blue color shows the lower speed. So if we look closely to this structure, then we can understand that Cura has adjusted faster speed for the infill, slower speed for the skirt making, and normal speed for this mean structure. Mean neither too slow, neither too fast, so that we can get a better surface finish. Now, if we change it further to layer thickness, as you can see this graph, layer thickness is lower here in the mean structure, and lower thickness and the layer thickness is higher in case of the raft, as we have to remove it. So that's why here the layer thickness is bit more. Line width. So it shows the line width. As you can see, line width is almost same everywhere. It shows the flow of material, at which place the flow of material is high. You can see through this color timeline that blue part shows the flow rate is low, and the orange or maroon part shows that the flow rate of the material is high. So all these parameters is optimized by the Cura for you. And this layer view helps you to make a printing strategy for your print. Apart from the, you can also see various view from here, like front view, top view, left side view, top side view in the preview part too.